Richard Hatch, Oakland Raiders, YouTube Live 2. And this time, I don't get that tag that says bad connection. And just as I said that, I was kind of waiting for bad connection to come up, and it didn't. We're live. Yes, folks, first of all, my condolences to the family of the great actor Richard Hatch. Richard Hatch was best known for his role on Battlestar Galactica, which reminds me of this question. Do you know, can you hum the theme from Battlestar Galactica? Can you? It's not dun 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 dun. Because if you said that, you would actually be humming the theme to the original FBI television series with Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. in 1968. Oh, excuse me, 1971. All right, it's not that. It has a theme kind of like that, but it's not quite that. But I digress. Richard Hatch was known for being the kind of brunette, body of the day that played the action hero in a great science fiction movie that was kind of like, how would you put it? It was more lost in. It wasn't so much lost in space because it wasn't funny. It was serious. It was more, how would I put it? Lost in Space meets Star Trek meets Space 1999. It was kind of like that, right? It was kind of like that. At any rate, Richard Hatch became a fixture at Comic-Con in San Diego in particular, and I met him in 2012. Tried to get him to give me a YouTube video interview, but he didn't want to do YouTube, sadly. So I always would see him and say, "Hey, Mr. Hatch, how you doing?" But he wasn't, but I never went back to him to ask him for another go at YouTube. I figured maybe after a few years he would be used to it, right? But, I just kind of thought, well, he doesn't want to do it. I'm not going to bother him. I'll go elsewhere. And so sadly, he's gone. I say all that to say this. Never, ever waste an opportunity to try again at anything, because I went with the whole idea of fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you, right? I wasn't going to go for a second time. My loss. Because it would have been great to talk with the actor about the rise of science fiction like Star Wars, or what he thought about the new Battlestar Galactica with Katie Sackhoff, the brilliant and just completely hot actress. Oh my God, she's hot. And she's talented. She's just so hot, right? Anyway, sadly, that's gone. Hey, YouTube Live. I love it. Some of you have said, "Oh, Zinni, you've got to go and try Facebook or Periscope." And I've tried both, Facebook Live and Periscope. But I'm a YouTube partner, and I generate revenue from, views, right? So I kept, and others kept, bugging Susan Wojcicki, the CEO of YouTube, to create a YouTube Live version, a real version. The problem with the one that's on, like, for example, here, which is what I'm pointing to here, right here, right? Here, the problem that is on the one that's on the computer is that you can't set it up without an encoder. You got to have an encoder and all this, stupid jazz, right? It's like, why do I need an encoder? Why do I need an encoder? I don't want to use an encoder. That's ridiculous. No encoder. Oh, something else too. If you want to leave a chat here, what you can do is you can actually purchase a chat, purchase a message you want to read. Now, hey, fair warning to you, if the message is not kind, I don't care. I'm going to rip it off. Okay, that's just not, that's ridiculous, because why do that? Why do that? I don't do that to anybody. Why do that to me? All right. So some of you watching this are saying, get to the whole part about the Raiders. Okay, I am. The latest right now is, first of all, I cannot tell you more specifics, but I can say that Raider officials are still meeting with Oakland officials as of this week. That's all I can tell you. And I can also say to you that very soon Fortress Investments and the Lot Group will unveil the latest version of their term sheet. I've said this before in video, but much more detailed and different. Exactly how different, I can't tell you because I don't know the specifics and I don't want to say something that is not true, right? I want to give you the best, the cleanest information that I know, the most accurate information I know, and I'll save fooling you for April Fool. I did that once. It's pretty damn good, too, if I do say so myself. Anyway, now, my friend Boss Man called to inform me that today, because I didn't hear it, he heard our good friend, the mayor of Las Vegas, yes, the mayor of Las Vegas, Carolyn Goodman, on Fred Rogaine. Is it Rogaine? Rogan. Sorry, Rogan, not Rogaine. I thought maybe it was like the hair stuff, right? No, excuse me. Okay, anyway, on his show and in LA. And apparently she remarked that there were investors coming forward to talk about or to say that they had money, but they really couldn't show the money. Oh, that's so hilarious. I wonder if... No, I'm not going to say that about who it might be. But I said that Mayor Goodman said they were out-of-town investors, which makes me wonder, were they out of town from Macau? Did they gamble at the Parisian Macau, for example? I just wonder what kind of investors. But regardless, they were not able to show the money. And so you have to ask yourself, why would the mayor get on a program and basically say, hey, yeah, they're outside investors, but Mark just can't come up with anybody that shows the money, and we can't just come up with anyone that shows the money. That's embarrassing. But you got to give it to the mayor for being honest, right? I mean, she really does. I have a question here. The question is Vegas, does Vegas still have a chance? I believe that's the question. No, it does not. And I'm not saying that because I'm a fan of the Oakland Raiders in Oakland, which, as you know, I am. Okay, but I'm putting on a hat that I really never take off, and that's my urban planning, real estate development analysis hat, and economic development hat. Okay, consider this, folks. We've had 1 year. This is now February. We've had just over 1 year. Okay, and there's another comment here. Let me get to that comment in a minute. Something like that about what happened. But let me get to that comment in a minute, all right? Because they kind of come and go. They flash. Now, if you want me to see, just kind of maybe purchase some money so it sticks up there so I can see it and respond to it, because it comes like that, right? But at any rate, getting back to the point about Vegas and it's whether or not it's real or can happen. No. I've said this, and I've said this, and I'll say it again. You cannot rush NFL stadium development. It takes a full 3 to 5 years to develop a stadium. We're only in year 1. Now, year 1 is always what's called the planning and pre-development phase. Let's think about that for a moment. Planning and pre-development phase. What happens during that phase? Well, first of all, before you identify the land, you get the political buy-in, which the Raiders have largely done, but not entirely. And they got enough they didn't get political buy-in, they got political strong-arming, okay? And what happened was that now Bill's saying the Nevada legislature can redirect the funds. That's true. That's absolutely true. I'll get to that in a second, Bill. You're absolutely right about that. Now, point that I'm making is that what happens, you get your political ducks in a row. They got the subsidy, but before that they had to spend 6 months before the Southern Nevada Tourism and Infrastructure opening, with Mark Davis making the presentation last year draft day, April 28th, in Las Vegas, while everybody else, like including myself, were in Chicago for the draft. Prior to that, in January, Mark Davis, behind the back of the city of Oakland, met University of Nevada, Las Vegas president Lynn Jessup and the staff of Las Vegas Sands and Las Vegas Sands CEO Sheldon Adelson for a tour of possible sites. Okay? And they never really narrowed down to a site. At first, they had the original the Tropicana site and a number of sites that were so close to the airport that to say the FAA would allow that was just only the dream of only, it was a Mickey Mouse dream, quite literally, without Walt Disney's money. That's basically what that was. But I digress. And then there was a desire to rush along the SNTIC decision-making process, which Mayor Goodman herself pointed out was something that was really being pushed along in a way that should not. She did make that point. And so we got the decision, but prior to the decision, remember, Majestic Realty dropped out. The key developer arm of the partnership dropped out because, as Craig Cavalier said, well, Mr. Adelson wants to make this a legacy project, a gift for Las Vegas and the region. His words, I'm paraphrasing. But if you follow this, you remember that's what he said. Now, Las Vegas Sands hired, 21 lobbyists, an army of lobbyists to basically manage and to basically manage and say they hired a bevy of lobbyists to say, hey, you know what? We are going to give you whatever deal you want whatever deal, all right? And we're going to give you whatever deal you want. We'll make a deal with you. Now, and they got their decision. Now, during that period, the Nevada legislature was controlled largely, well, it was Republican controlled, not even just largely, it was Republican controlled. And with that, the deal squeaked by the assembly, even with the last minute leaking of a report from the Nevada Department of Transportation that it would take $1 billion, just a hair under $1 billion, to install the necessary improvements to the roads around the lands that would be considered, just to handle the crowds and the ingress and egress with respect to the stadium for game day activities and other types of events, but primarily Raiders game day activities. $1 billion on top of everything else. That's killed the deal. But the Las Vegas Sands lobbyists went to work, and getting another comment here, and I feel like, I'll get to that in a second. Every time these messages come up, right, and then they go away before I can respond to them. So if you want to repost the message, please do. Or if you want to put it on Twitter, I'll go over to Twitter and have a look at it as well, okay, in the notifications section right over here, okay? So there you go. Anyway, in fact, I'll say that I'm on live stream right now. My point is that they got the funding, and they got the approval for the subsidy, right? And then just after a scant few weeks, the wheels on this thing started to come off. You had Sheldon Adelson in Tel Aviv saying the Raiders basically were hard to make a deal with. And, oh boy, everything just really started to unravel because of that. And of course, Andy Embood, Las Vegas Sands government affairs representative, had to come out and basically say, oh, everything was fine and we're still moving forward. And he had to make a comment about Oakland that was of a diss type. Remember all that? Okay. But the point of the matter is that through all of this, the key components toward building any structure, let alone the stadium, were beyond the funding, were not done. They didn't seal down the land, all right? They didn't seal down building permits. They didn't seal down construction cost plans. No one knows how much this stadium is really going to cost because you don't know, for example, who's going to build the truss spans that support the retractable roof for the stadium. And look how the truss spans going to be designed. Are they going to be 2 by 2 like Reliant Stadium, forming one of the world's longest truss spans used for construction? Or are they going to be more like the style of the Dallas Cowboys, where they're not the 2 truss spans here, but they're more of a built into the roof at a higher level, and a kind of a really innovative curve design? How is it going to be? And when you do that, what does that do for the cost? All of these items have to be thought out, because then the question becomes, okay, fine, who's your construction cost? Who's your contractor, right? Not just the architect, but the contractor. You have the architect in one hand, who designs the thing, and the contractor comes along and says, oh, that's really pretty, but we can't pay for that because we have a budget that's X amount, right? That is what happens when you're serious about building something. That's what happens when you're serious about building something. But the Raiders had a giant handicap, and they still have. What is it? They didn't have NFL approval to do that. So you have to ask yourself, if you're the Raiders, hey, how much money am I really going to spend if I know at the end of the day the owner's going to say, we don't want you there? That curtails a lot. It really does. It really does. So the Raiders had 2 handicaps. First of all, it was a handicap of time, because they started this, and I'll be blunt with you. I really believe that much of the problem, I'm saying on live stream right now, much of the problem has to do, and I'll just say it straight out, with the fact that neither Mark Bourdain nor Mark Davis has been this route before of developing stadium. They are both experiencing their first rodeo. And by moving out more experienced people like Majestic Realty and teaming up with someone else who had no experience at NFL stadium development in Las Vegas Sands and Sheldon Adelson, and not consistently trotting out Larry McNeil, the stadium development VP guy, who spent part of his time last year in Oakland, and I have the emails to prove it, they were consistently behind the 8 ball, okay? And again, they tried to rush. Remember, first it was going to be, well, by January we're going to get a decision. And then by March we're going to get a decision. And, so now the more comments come in that fade away. These comments fade away. That's the one improvement that needs to happen here. So that if a person makes a comment, they don't fade away so fast. Because I'm talking, and here comes the comment. I'll move in to see it, right? And it's like, hey, it's gone. Okay. And so anyway, I'm saying live stream now at Zenny62 on YouTube, okay? YouTube.com. And I'm putting in the HTTP, type that, and then www.youtube.com, and /user/Zenny62. So I'm putting that on in live stream, okay? Live stream, like that. Got it, live stream, all right. And Raiders, hashtag Raiders, like that, okay? There, all right, Raiders. There, okay. And come on, do something, voila. All right, now let me go to the comments part. Let me go to the notifications part, see if anybody's made a comment in the notifications in Twitter. But at any rate, okay, here's another one. Do you think that the NFL will officially get Mark Davis to sell next year or two? No, I don't believe the NFL will do that. I don't. And the reason is that, let's play out this scenario, okay? In order for Mark Davis to be forced to sell the Raiders, he would have to do some type of conduct that owners would view as detrimental to the National Football League. Now, Mark may be eccentric. Heck, I'm eccentric. But conduct detrimental to the league is something entirely different. I think I'm going to try to think of Mark Davis' better angels here. And I believe that Mark's better angels say, you know what? We're going to, the better option for us is in Oakland. We've explored everywhere. We haven't gotten the deals we think. The better option for us is in Oakland. And he'll get over his issues with Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf, which are nonsensical, to be frank with you. And he'll work out a deal with Ronnie Lott and his group in Fortress Investments, and they will together build a state-of-the-art stadium in Oakland. That's what I believe will happen, because it will be for the good of the league. Consider that Oakland, first of all, I don't know if you see my infograph on this, but I'll just say it. Oakland is at the center of the Bay Area. It's not over here. It's not up here. It's not down there. It's right at the center of the Bay Area geographically. You ever see a map? And then San Francisco on a map is over here, right, in the Pacific Ocean. And then this is the East Bay, and that's the South Bay, and San Jose is here. You've got right here, Marin County. You ever go to Marin County? Sam's in Tiburon's an awesome bar, great food, great hot fudge sundae, but I digress. You got to go to Sam's in Tiburon. It's great seafood, I'm just saying, right? I've seen Jack Del Rio there twice. At any rate, there, okay. Now, then you can go up around. You got Richmond here, over here, and on the west side, you've got, that's on the east side. This is the East Bay over here. On the east side, you've got Oakland, of course, the rest of Oakland, and you've got Walnut Creek out here, and then down here you've got Fremont and the tech area. Oakland is right at the center of all that. You've got the Bay Bridge coming over 80, you've got 580, and then you've got 880 convergent Oakland. Oakland's at the center of the San Francisco Bay Area. And so because of its geographic position, you have to consider all of the Bay Area, not just the Oakland metropolitan area, as some people have done in discussing this, but all of Oakland. And what you have to understand is that Oakland, because it's at the center, can command the entire metropolitan area that is the Bay Area. That's 7.4 million people, 2.7 million households. That's right, 2.7 million households. Okay? Let's think about Vegas by contrast. Vegas has 2,114,000 people according to the most recent census count. 740 households. So basically the San Francisco Bay Area with Oakland at the center is 3 times larger. 3 times larger. 3 times larger than Las Vegas metropolitan area, within which 648,000 population Las Vegas is at the center. That's enormous. That's enormous. And so, do I think that the league will force Mark Davis out? No, I really believe that Davis will come to his senses and make the right decision. Now, you're probably saying, okay, so what if he doesn't? Court battle. The only logical conclusion to an outcome of that type would be yet another court battle between the Oakland Raiders and the National Football League. But it'll be a court battle of a different type, because the most possible course of action in that instance would be owners suing Mark Davis for a lack of attention to what they would perceive as his duty to them as an owner. You have to remember, he doesn't have the, he being Mr. Davis, doesn't have the liberty of acting in a way that is independent of the National Football League. The last person to do that, actually, the last person to do that wound up in the NFL Hall of Fame. That was Jerry Jones. Oh, by the way, I'm at Zennie, ZENNIE62 on Twitter if you want to aim something at me. But at any rate, my point is Jerry Jones was the last person to try that. He sued the National Football League with respect to a marketing deal that he had struck with Pepsi, and regarding Deion Sanders, if memory serves, where Pepsi's paid him $30 million. He took part of that, paid Deion Sanders signing bonus for getting Deion away from the 49ers, and he pocketed the rest, and the league went ape. Wanted him to share part of that money with them. So they went to court. And, of course, the NFL won. But then also Jerry won, because he won the right to do his own individual deals, but, just give a little piece to his friends, right? That's what the NFL is all about. So you can be a maverick, but if you're a successful maverick in the NFL, you've got to share the spoils of victory, all right? That's what you've got to do. So there's the scenario. Mark has two paths. He can either go off and say, I'm going to do my own thing and, screw everybody else and risk being sued, or he can take the path of least resistance with the league, and where, hey, you know what? They may even say, we'll throw in an extra $100 million for you. They may do that for him that they didn't do for Dean Spanos. It kind of evens out because there's money that Spanos saves by going into the Inglewood facility anyway. All right. So again, if you are able to see this and you want to have a tagged message, you have to buy it. You can, which, hey, it'd be great, like $5, right? Stick it up there, and then I can read it. Because what happens is that when you make comments in this area, they flash up, and I have to rush in like this, like, read it, right, and then it's gone. It's like, and some of your comments are long, and they're longer than the time I have to read them, because they come up and they're gone, all right? I like this. I think I'm going to do all of my videos like this, maybe like a short live stream, right? This is really cool. I've been on here for, 28 minutes so far? 28 minutes. This is really cool. I get the hang of this. No YouTube questions yet, but I'm waiting. And now I'm trying to also see if there is a decision regarding the Ninth Circuit here. Oh, here we go. Okay. It says, see, it flashed. It's gone again. And this is another one that's gone again. If you could go to Twitter, because again, they only stay up for 2 seconds. It's agonizing, folks. The messages don't stay up long enough. It's not your fault. It's YouTube. It's the way they designed the thing. They don't hang here. Now, can I just maybe if I press this and see, what is that? Nope. Okay, I'll press cancel. And I don't quite know what that is. I'll experiment with that another time, because I don't want to do anything that takes the screen away, right? I was trying to find out, maybe there was a place where maybe your messages popped up and I could zoom in and look at them, right? And I thought maybe this was it, but it's not. It just says show. And so let me try to see what this is. This is, nope, that's not it either. Those are little dressy thingies. Nope, don't know what, nope, that's not it either. Nope. Oh, so here's another one that says, Emeryville? Am I in Emeryville? No, I am not in Emeryville. I am in Atlanta. I'm a long way away. I'm upstairs, by the way. This is not my bedroom or anything. This is actually an office. Okay, this is an office. You want to have a look? Yeah, see, take a look. This is an office. This is computer set up here, printer there. I took this off to put the thing up there for the lighting, right? Old computer there. That is that is a guest bed. That's not mine. The rest of everything that you see down there is a long upstairs room that's long and dark. And and this is the every place else here, but no, this is not. This is an office. Oh, and cake. So I'm visiting mom here, and she makes the best cakes in the world. Got to give a shout out to my mom. Yeah. Set that up right there. I kind of wish I could do this in a way where it was, instead of this way, it was like that way. So next time, I'm going to see if I can actually do that and experiment around. Or can I? What would happen if I just tilted it like that? Let me see something here. If I tilted it, will my face stay normal? Let me see what happens. If I tilt it like rotate device. Rotate device, like that. Okay, I rotated the device. It says rotate device. But it will not. It says rotate the device like this. So it tells me not to. That's interesting. See, if I rotate the device like that, it tells me to put it back here. So this is the way they want you to use it. Dang it. See, I was hoping for the movie, version, the aspect ratio type deal, right? Like that. How do they do that? Here's another comment. Jerry Jones, I think Jerry Jones goes against, if I'm not mistaken, because again, it came up really quick and I had to squint. It says, the person said that I think until Jerry Jones goes against, the Vegas decision is still alive, words to that effect. Well, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, and first of all, congratulations again to Mr. Jones on being named to the 2017 NFL Hall of Fame class. He is certainly a popular figure in the National Football League and a brilliant owner, without question. But does that mean that he automatically rubber stamps every deal? No, it doesn't. Given his relationship with Sheldon Adelson and the fact that Adelson is out and as well as Goldman, I cannot see Jerry Jones favoring this anymore. I just can't. Why? There's no reason. Folks, all politics is personal, all right? And in business too. And so what has to be remembered is that from A to the end, A to Z, this quest to bring the Oakland Raiders to Las Vegas was driven by one person primarily, Sheldon Adelson. Adelson is out. It was driven by one very powerful person. And that's the one thing that I want everyone to understand in discussing economic development and real estate development. You need champions. Without that champion, the project is gone. I'm going to give you an example of what I'm talking about. It was Oakland, 1991. Prior to 1991, the Rouse Company, that was started by the legendary Jim Rouse, the creator of the new town Reston, Virginia, outside of Washington, D.C., was very interested in developing a 2 million square foot shopping center in the middle of Oakland. If you know Oakland, you know the Uptown Entertainment District, the Uptown District, that area. Just behind the Fox Theater and just north of the Fox Theater where the Forest City developed apartments are now, which some of you may live in, that was going to be the home of a new 2 million square foot shopping center. The person who believed in Oakland at the center of the San Francisco Bay as the best place for the shopping center was a man named Michael Spear. And Michael Spear literally drove this project, or that project, single-handedly. Then, in 1991, something happened. He died in a helicopter crash. That's right. He died in a helicopter crash. And with his death went the entire spiritual desire to build the complex. And the reason why I remember that so well is because I graduated from planning school at Berkeley in 1987, and a number of us expected that to be built because of Michael Spear. It didn't happen. My first job out of grad school was with the Oakland Redevelopment Agency during that period of time, September 16th, 1987. When Mr. Spear passed away, the once, for want of a better term, fiscally edible subsidy that was placed on the city of Oakland, which is about $180 million, ballooned to $293 million. And the Oakland City Council voted no, and I was there because I started writing for the Montclarians. My first gig as a columnist, no journalist training, that's another story. First gig as a columnist, and I wrote a heartfelt explanation of why we needed to make that investment. We didn't. And away it went. Similarly, the Raiders Stadium in Vegas had Adelson as the real champion. And when Adelson punted famously, the wind was taken away from the back of all those sailors that were on the boat, making the sails stay up and making the ship go forward. Gone. Wind's gone. Okay? No champion. You would say, Mark Davis is the champion. Except that Mark Davis does not command his own money. It's more to it than that. It's not just that he doesn't command his own money. He does to a degree, okay? He does to make some pre-development expenditures, some studies, and so on. But he doesn't have $200 million laying around free and clear to buy land, buy political capital, basically redo everything that Sheldon Adelson did. Sheldon Adelson led a gargantuan effort. He made a gargantuan effort. You got to give him his props. He really did. He almost changed the world. It took that kind of effort. That's gone, okay? That's gone. And it took that kind of effort to overcome the natural advantage that Oakland has in terms of having the Raiders, its fan base, its location. It took a lot. But he's gone. Any other questions, by the way? Now, also, let me see what's going on with the Ninth Circuit. Has any decision been made yet? I don't see anything. I guess we're all waiting for the Ninth Circuit. I don't see it. Still don't see any questions for you guys on Twitter. Let's see here. CNN's debate night. That's what's going on. Am I going to lose you guys to that? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. Interesting. Now, what do you guys think of this? I love this stuff. I've been on here now for, wow, does that say 38 minutes? I believe it does. Yes, it does. Cool stuff. I like this. I'm getting 5 thumbs up. Thank you so much. And now 30 views. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hey, again, if you're watching this, Twitter, I'm ZENNIE, Zenny62 on Twitter. Find the live stream note that I say I'm live and push your question there, right? Or just put a question out on Twitter and I'll respond that way. I love this stuff. This is really something else. It really is. Let's see here. I'm going to shift gears just for a second and see what the Ninth Circuit has done. Hashtag Ninth Circuit. And then I'll get to somebody who might want to talk about Scott Kaplan in San Diego, right? Oh boy, do I have a lot to say about that. Hold on a second. What does this say? It says, it fades again. Dog on it. It's something about Oakland. Oh, geez. It keeps going away. Dog on it. Dog on it. Yeah. Can you, like I said, I saw that, and I'm wondering if maybe I don't understand why one cannot have a conversation about Islam without everyone losing their shit. That's a good question. I am, however, more interested in seeing if I can interact with you by way of Twitter, by way of YouTube, to see if your questions and comments come up on my screen there, maybe so that they stick to it, right? Okay. Let me see that. It says Richard Hatch, Oakland, YouTube live now, 27 watching. Okay. And hey. Okay, so I can see on my screen here. Oh yeah, now I see it. Hey, look, folks. Okay, my brain is working here. Take a look. I just want to show you this really quick. All right, look at this. See that? Ta-da-da-da-da. I see that. Okay. Now I can answer your questions. Thank you so very much. And I'll go to answering them and here. Okay, one second. That is so cool. This is so cool. All right, now it says okay, and I'm going to say, says Zinni, say something. I'm writing hello here, like so. All right. I don't like that narrow part. That thing that's it's got that narrow strip, right? I don't like that narrow strip part. They've got to make it so that you can widen this out some kind of way. I'm going to work on that so that my next live stream fills in the screen. I don't like this narrow band here. I think that's ridiculous. I don't know what to do about that. But at any rate, now it says, what is Mark Davis worth? I would say, considering he owns about 20% of the team, he's, if you want to ballpark it, basically, well, he'll be worth about what, 200 million, somewhere in there, something like that. Must be generous and say 300 million, but that's team money, right? That doesn't include, yeah, let's say that about 200 million, $300 million right there. Now the other question is, what is it? Nothing new, just discusses Oakland. Okay, man, but a little more specific. What's Davis' total worth? I don't know. Yeah, but Zinni, did Dez catch it though? Yes, Dez Bryant did catch that ball. Okay, for lack of a better word, is he the poorest team owner? No. Packers owners are Packers owners, because they're not, the Packers operate more as a corporation. You don't have this individual that's got a hoo-gob of money that's controlling everything. It's truly a community corporation, right? So you have to say that if you're looking at that money bags person on the Packers, you're not going to find it. Whereas, because of the ownership system. Whereas with the Raiders, it's Mr. Davis, right? So there you go. What's up, Legend of Zinni? Hey, Golden State Raider, how you doing? Nice to see you. Say, hey, Golden State GSR. GSR is Golden State Raider. Hey, how you doing? God, I really don't. This narrow screen. It's like, oh, this is bugging me. Oh, man. Let's see. Hate the narrow screen. Hate the narrow screen. There's got to be a way to widen that out. I want to see what happens if I just do this one more time. I just want to turn this. This is really bugging me. It's like this narrow strip, right? I just want to turn this because I guess they didn't design it that way. If I do it like this, what happens? It's like rotate the device, and it's like I am definitely sideways. Yeah, it is not turning me. I am definitely sideways. Sorry about that, folks. So I am, okay, it says, it tells me rotate device. That's hilarious. It tells me rotate device. See, folks, I am from the old school, the movie school, right? I want to have that. If anything, I want to have it wide out with a letterbox, right? I don't want this thing. Now, maybe there's got to be a control here that allows me to change that. Let me see what these 3 dots bring. Is this a nuclear bomb or something? What is this? Share. What does that say? It says mute microphone, which I don't want to do. Share. I'll share this. tweet it out there. I just did that, okay. And then this, I don't know what this is. This is, I'll have to, what is this? Is it standard? What is this? A chick? This is another one. Then there's, oh, I need new glasses. I definitely need new glasses. So these contact lenses are for shit now, man. Sorry. What is this? This is interesting. Oh, it's got all these different choices. I'll have to read about these later. All right. And then, interesting. Very interesting. And then it's got a camera. I can actually swing it around like that. You can see the wall. And then come back. But it's still narrow. It's still narrow. That was the antenna you saw. It's still narrow. Just driving me crazy here, man. I hate that stuff. Okay, now, whatever. All right, back to answer your questions. And, okay, the other one says, now, I heard Raiders filed a request to move to Carson right now. Very funny. Let's see. Article in Las Vegas Review-Journal, a really downplaying idea of stadium, should read the recent article. Start saying stadium with sketchy tenant lease, not such a good idea. What am I recording with, Jason? I'm using an iPhone 6S. And I am YouTube Live. iPhone 6S is what I'm using, Jason. Yeah. So, at any rate, and yeah, Bill McKinney, that's a great point. Bill, I want to address that too. Basically, I'm just saying, hey, Bill, because one thing I want to look at you as I'm talking, right? Okay, here's the thing. And this goes back to sports business simulations. Check out my site, sportsbusinesssims.com, where I had the Oakland baseball sim world and the XFL sim world. 2 games that were used in the college and high school classrooms from 2003 to 2010 when Forio and I had a big argument. Me and the guy I thought was my brother, Michael Bean, but that's another story. At any rate, over that time, we developed, me and Dan Rasher, the academic program head at the University of San Francisco to this day, really were on the way of developing what I call sports business dynamics, so the understanding of sports business dynamics, okay? So, as that applies to your question, when you're negotiating, you're the team owner, right? And you're negotiating with a tenant partner in a stadium, what you are always concerned about is how much money am I going to get out of the stadium so that I can pay not just player salaries, but also have something left over for free agency contracts and something else called player development. In baseball, this is particularly true, but it also applies to football. We all know about the Moneyball strategy, but what is not said about the Moneyball strategy as much is how much more is spent on player development, scouting, training, sabermetrics analysis than the norm, and how that allows the team to find the diamonds in the rough, the players that they pay smaller salaries to, and then once those players get good, they unload them because they want more money and they bring in the next person, right? Now, all of that has to be financed to a large degree by the stadium deal. So here comes Sheldon Adelson. No familiarity with football whatsoever, just sees that they want return on their investment. So you are Mark Davis and you're saying, hey, this is fantastic, but here's the cut that I need. And Sheldon is saying, I don't care about that, I want this. And therein lay the rub. Folks, that argument is not going to go away just because you change partners. You have to make sure you have a good relationship with someone who really understands the dynamics of sports business. Otherwise, you're screwed out the gate. And that was the problem between Mark and Sheldon. Remember I said earlier that it was both their first rodeo along with Mr. Bourdain? And I like Mark. I like all of them. I haven't met Sheldon, but I like Mark Bourdain and Mark Davis. Even though Mark Davis doesn't like me much right now. Whatever. But the bottom line is, the fact of the matter is that you have to design the stadium and develop it, and then make sure that you have carved out every inch of that stadium for possible revenue opportunities to pay for the operation of your team. Because, look, there's a question here. It says, so why won't Mark open Mount Davis? I'll kill that second. Why do you think the tech companies aren't stepping in? Let me see here. Hold on a second. This is a very good question. Q. Why do you think the tech companies aren't stepping in? Okay. Good question. That's a good question. Good question. Hold on a second. Oh, hey Mark, let's stay ready. Do I have this t-shirt you mean for sale? I'll make them. Thank you for asking. I'll make them. I will make them. Thank you. This t-shirt it's kind of a one and done deal. Okay, I made it. I bought my own t-shirt and I didn't really market it, and that was kind of it. And my mom said, I haven't seen that. Is that new? I said, no, Mom, it's about 8 years old. But anyway, thank you so much, very much. Now, that aside, I'm going to get you back to, now, Jason Tarver, you said, I think that's because of James Davis, to be honest, and I'm writing, yes. That is, thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks. I'll say thanks, GSR. Now, regarding the tech community, you're absolutely right. Because for those of you who are not in the Bay Area and watching this, we have, let's stop it with a joke saying, Zinni, you're not in the Bay Area right now either. Okay, I'm not, but you get the idea. We are in the Bay Area, the 21st century equivalent of Detroit in the 20th century, particularly the mid to near late 20th century, when Detroit ruled the automotive world. The Bay Area rules the tech world. It's not just the creations, it's also the money. It's the venture capitalists. It's the lawyers like Wilson Sonsini, legendary tech law firm there. It's the people, of course, Larry Ellison's, but then you may not know about Dennis Fung or Michael Arrington, who started TechCrunch, who now lives in Seattle. Robert Scoble, who's still a Bay Area denizen, who was a famed Microsoft blogger, who then became the first popular tech blogger, and go on and on and on. And then, of course, there are the great venture capitalists like John Doerr. There are, my goodness, the Intel, the famous semiconductor organization. There's HP. There's Apple, of course. There's Facebook. There's Instagram. There's Vimeo. There's my God, there's YouTube, Google. Yes. The reason why the Raiders, the tech community is involved is because look, I'll tell you why. You know why? They haven't been asked. They haven't been asked. And the reason why is because Bourdain and Davis do not know how to engage them, let alone, and now there's a caveat there, let alone establish a kind of a consortium to bring them in along with the NFL. It really is a generational problem. It really is a problem with older heads who don't quite get this tech thing and are more likely to hire someone to handle their social media who's some gorgeous co-ed, okay? As opposed to somebody who really understands what they're doing with social media. I'm just telling you the truth, all right? That's what you're dealing with. NFL operations on a team-per-team basis are largely a lot more mom and pop-ish than you realize. They really are. Now, I'm not being insulting. That's just a fact. Because, hey, there's some good to that. You have that mom and pop. I'm going on a deliberate digression here, right? You have that mom and pop culture, and it allows the owners to take better care of the player, in theory, and creates the family feeling that leads to a oneness on the field and ostensibly produces championships, like the Patriots, for example. Okay, I know we're all upset about the Super Bowl and we can't forget the tuck rule, but you have to mention it. Let's see what else here. Just keep me updated. I'll buy some. Zenny, you got it. I say, thanks. Thank you, Golden State Raider. Appreciate it. Thanks. Any other questions out here? Let's see here. Anybody heard about the Ninth Circuit yet? I haven't. Now, Oracle. Jason Tarver, Oracle. Hey, something else too. Now you're probably, I'm going to say this. You said, do you think that Davis is also afraid of losing dictatorship style popularity, especially if a tech company like Facebook or Twitter jumps in? No, Jason, I don't. No, I don't think that. I think, and Bill did call it. Bill is right. Bill is right. Bill, you're right. And that is really it. The Raiders, I'll never forget this because a friend of mine, whose name I will not mention, I have a number of friends who were interns with the Raiders over the years. But this particular one, she's so gorgeous. At any rate, she once said to me that the Raiders, an organization at the time where you ascended by backstabbing. And if you could pull the other person down and make yourself look better than you rose up in the organization, that's what this person described to me, okay? And the Raiders, from my experience in working with the Raiders since 1993, 2003, 2013, 2016, that's 24 years. My experience is that they're very a family organization, but you really always do have to watch your back. And that's a sad statement on the company, but it's there. I was a Raiderette judge. Prior to that, I had an excellent relationship with Alo Casal, who was the executive assistant to the Raiders. And there's always this, if someone doesn't have, or they're not in your circle, and you're meeting with somebody else, it's always, what is that person doing, right? And in my case, I represented the mayor of Oakland. But you could kind of see, like, what's that person? What's that? What's this? And everyone seemed to have, at the time, culturally, their own thing going, their own little project going, all right? Now, is it that way today? I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's hard for me to believe it's much different from what I've heard. It really is. Now, in all of that, you have to say that, first of all, the way the Raiders work, regardless of what happens among the staffers, okay, is they prize loyalty. And so that's why I say Bill is absolutely right, all right? They prize loyalty. And that loyalty trumps everything else. They also, that loyalty extends to family. Look at Tom Blanda, who is George Blanda's son. Look at Morris Bradshaw, who's been a longtime Raider exec. Great guy. Morris Bradshaw is one of the finest people I know, period, okay? Number 81 wide receiver with the Raiders. And love watching football game with him. That's an experience in itself, just to watch a Raider game with Morris Bradshaw. I did last year in Oakland, Monday night, when we played Denver. That was fun. Benet went by, we were all high-fiving each other because we were kicking the Broncos' ass. It was cool. Anyway, the bottom line is, hey, MB, how you doing? What's up, Zay? Just got in. What's going on? Just talking, just talking about, Bedane's dad was a good friend of Al. Bedane and Mark grew up together. See, I didn't know that. I did not know that. And I want to say one thing, because someone say, you're being critical of your organization. Yeah, but it's a friendly critical, all right? You have to understand something. The Raiders and I go back, in total to my doctor, Howard Rose, not my doctor now, but when I was a little boy, 1974, he sat in section 209, row 14, seat 9, if memory serves. Yeah. And he was my doctor. And that was my first Raider game in 74. Then my mom, the oldest sister, University of Mars, right? Bedane's trained as a lawyer, and he's got his MBA at Cal, right? But at any rate, I didn't like football at the time. I was into Star Trek. I was into physics. I was into urban planning. Yeah, as a teenager, I was in urban planning since 6 years old. And at any rate, and my mom got to notice this drunk. So here he's in our living room, and I was upstairs, with my Star Trek posters and reading the Star Trek technical manual. That's right, about the Enterprise and the inner details, inner workings, and matter, antimatter, nacelles, and everything else. All right. Now, I went downstairs to meet Otis Sistrunk and didn't know what to say to him, and he said, "So what do you do?" And I said, "I'm into photography. How about you?" I didn't say into, words to that effect. He didn't know how to work a camera at the time. Never heard of Star Trek. So after a good 5 minutes, I said, "Well, it was nice to meet you, Mr. Sistrunk," and I went back upstairs. That was it. But I figured if my mom was going to get to know this man, not dating, friends, okay, then I should read something about football. But what could I read? I wasn't really interested in learning about the players as people at the time. I just being honest. I found the book called The NFL's Encyclopedic History of Pro Football. And I'll get to that question in a second. I just wanted to say this. At any rate, at the back of it was a section called A Diagram History of Professional Football. And within it, a section about Tom Landry, then the coach of the Dallas Cowboys, and how Coach Landry had applied engineering theory to football. And since I was studying to be an civil engineer at the time, I was hooked. Okay? Yeah, I became a Cowboys fan because of that. And so I was a Cowboys fan and a Raider fan at the same time. Yes, you can do both. The Niners are kind of like, the what? Joe Thomas, who's that? He did what? Did they ever win a game? You get the idea, all right? And so that was how I became interested in football, but it hid my interest in the Raiders. And of course, we won the Super Bowl 1977 against the Minnesota Vikings, 32-14. And at the Rose Bowl over the sun-drenched mountains and all that stuff, as Dandy Don Meredith said during that game. And that is how I got interested in football. And I made my own playbook and wound up trying to go out for quarterback at Skyline High in 1979 and wound up being the equipment manager because I was trying to figure out a way to get to know this girl who was a cheerleader. Didn't work out. Anyway, true stories, sadly. But Coach Tony Fardell at Skyline used my plays, and one of them went for 36 yards and a touchdown against Fremont High. Yes. At any rate. Okay, now back to your questions. That was how I got interested in football. And I still have my playbook. Okay? Now, okay, I think I will laugh my ass off. I'm doing along with all the... It's funny, yeah. Okay. Now, if NFL approves a move by Vegas, I will be done. I think we all will be. That would be weird. What does Lott need to do? Hector Vasquez Jr. Okay. Q. What does Lott need to do to get the NFL's blessings? Work hard. Yeah, he's had a conversation with the commissioner. Look, it is no accident the commissioners come out and made statements that were first negative with respect to Vegas, negative with respect to casino owners owning, okay, the even part of the Raiders or a stadium. That's no accident. And it's no accident that I was informed last week, and I made a vlog about this, that, yes, guess who's back in the fold? Roger Goodell. Overtaking Eric Grubman in the negotiations. And it says, will the inheritance tax force Mark Davis to sell the Raiders? You know, Amy Trask made a statement about that, and she said, if I'm not mistaken, they had all that worked out in the transition. So I'm going to say no, okay? And and it says, and Hector, did you hear that? Did you hear the answer to the question? As I put your question up there as a highlight? Let me know, please, okay? And did the Raiders ever get a defensive backfield coach? I'll check on that. Now, Golden State Raider. Why did Arthur Blank make a comment that with Sheldon Adelson out, it's easier now? Shouldn't he have said the Jordan crying meme? Q. Let's see. Okay. he said that he made a statement. He made that statement mainly because, how do I say it? It's true. It was easier. It was easier because he had a shot, but it's also harder. Adelson. Now I'm going to say something here. All right. If it had been me, I would have not asked the question that way. That question, it sounded like I didn't see a video. I was only read what he had reportedly said. And what I'm doing right now is I'm putting the plug in here to power up so I don't lose you guys like that. All right, now. Okay, now. Right. So I'm going to hold this and keep talking. Now, I don't believe, as far as Adelson is concerned, here's the deal. As far as Arthur Blank, I didn't hear the question. And it's why I use video, so that you can hear the entire question. Did the reporter ask a question in such a way as to get Arthur Blank to say that? For example, Mr. Blank, don't you think that with Mr. Adelson out of the way, it makes it easier for Mark Davis? To which Blank would say, yeah, I think that with Adelson out of the way, it certainly makes it easier. Right? So I didn't hear the question. That's a leading question. And if it's a leading question, it meant I discount the answer if it's a leading question. If Sheldon just sort of, if Arthur Blank just sort of popped out there with that, different story. But it doesn't sound like he did that, okay? So, no. And so I think I'm leading here, right here. It says, Oakland needs to visit the Warriors to leave and plus get the A's their own Coliseum. Lots group gives up the Coliseum site for the Raiders to build on. Like, damn, we deserve a brand new stadium on that site. Yeah, we do. Aeroplane Blues, we do. Oh, Hector, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. This is fun. Oh, now back to, Bill, back to your very good question. Now, regarding the matter of what Arthur Blank said. I have on video from last year Arthur Blank saying to me he cannot see Oakland without the name Raiders in it, okay? Or Raiders without the name Oakland. Now, someone was being nasty and said, well, that was a year ago. Well, yeah, but there's nothing to say. Just because Adelson said that it's easier doesn't mean he's for it. That's what everybody forgets. Just because Adelson said, oh yeah, it's easier, it doesn't mean he's for it. Okay? So, I mean, look, I understand there are people who want Vegas to establish an NFL team. I'm going to tell you something. I love Las Vegas. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I almost got married there. All right? Great city, but it has a ton of weaknesses. It really has a ton of weaknesses. Las Vegas is not yet ready to comfortably support an NFL team. Now, those of you out there who, and Bill, you said, what does this say? Bill says, I think some owners are blowing smoke, Blank, Jones, and others doing it so they don't create more buzz than necessary. That, Bill, I think a lot of that has to do with who asked the question, how the question is answered. All right? And again, that's why I like to video blog, because then you really understand and get a sense of why that person said what they said. Also, their voice inflections, right? But most important for this conversation, how the question was asked. If it was a leading question, I discount the answer, because the reporter was fishing for a particular type of response, and the reporter got it. There's been a lot of that. Do you notice I said this the other day to someone? I said, T.I. Howard, the city of Las Vegas would profit big time from Super Bowl if they had a proper stadium. Yeah, they would profit big time from it, and so would the prostitutes. Anyway, the whole point is, I had to get that in there. I'm sorry, I just had to get that. Well, CNN has an announcement about, boy, I missed that. It popped up and dang, it went away. At any rate, yes, San Antonio ready for a team? No, San Antonio is not yet ready for the team for some of the same answers I gave you. NFL team. Now, back to the matter of Bill's statement. And Golden State Raider has a question. Hold on a second. It says, would the new stadium fit on the current site, or would Oracle or the Coliseum be demolished? Nope. The new stadium will fit there. And something else, you have to remember that the Coliseum complex land also includes that green space across 880, right? So there's a lot of space to work with. You're talking about 105 acres. You're talking about as much space as is the Magic Kingdom of Disneyland is large. That's huge. That's huge. It's a lot of space. Now, and so, right. But here's the point about Vegas and big events that would hurt the Raiders for any regular season game if it were in Las Vegas. And you want to know what it is? It's 2 words. Price gouging. Yeah, price gouging. In fact, Aeroplane Blues, you pointed out, you say that Vegas would make a killing, creates a skyrocket in hotel prices. Right. But see, that skyrocketing hotel prices, that chases people away. I'll give you an example. I cover CES every year. Just finished my 8th year Consumer Electronics Show, right? Half the media stayed away because the hotel prices were up to an average of $350 per night. The first night I stayed at the Flamingo for $30. The next night after I moved to the Emerald Suites, another story. I like the Emerald Suites though, but actually I really did like the Emerald Suites. But at any rate, $300 to $400 at the Flamingo the next night. Are you kidding me? Yeah. All right. So let's put our thinking caps on here. You got $100 for a Raider game, right? You've got, let's be generous, $100 for a plane ticket, maybe less than that, to fly there, right? Unless, of course, you drive. So you're looking at $200 almost, okay? Then you look for a hotel room, and given that you've got 60 to 70,000 people, or maybe even 55,000 people, a hotel room that normally would be $50 is suddenly $150, so that's $350. You're starting to cost this out, and maybe you've got a little one on the way. Maybe you lost your job, or maybe you're not making as much money as you'd like, or maybe it's, there are all kinds of reasons. But a lot of the common Raider fan, lives job to job, paycheck to paycheck. That's a big chunk to have to come up with. And so what it'll spell is you've got people who are going to be chased away. Now, will they be replaced by someone else? Not necessarily. Anything can happen. You talk about tourism. Okay, maybe there's I hate to say it, some type of criminal problem, terrorist problem that might curtail a flight. There's weather, like nor'easters that impact it. There's all kinds of factors that impact how many people come in for a game from out of town. And then, as a number of people point out to me, hey, it's Vegas. Do I really want to see a football game and get up for a tailgate at 10 in the morning on a Sunday after I've been partying and getting drunk until 4 a.m.? Probably not. Okay? Now, Jason Tarver says, yeah, the few times I went to the NAB conference, hey, I've been there too. There were out there, the hotel rooms were ridiculous. We stayed 4 and 5 to a room. See, that's what I'm talking about. And that staying 4 and 5 to a room, it's only going to guarantee it the hotel prices are up, right? That's it. So, is that the best? Here's the point. Some one of you may be saying, well, yeah, but, the tickets will get sold and all that. But it's going to chase away the Raider fan base big time. The Raider Nation, as you and I know it, will cease to exist. And don't forget the PSL costs. Right? Has anyone said to you, we guarantee these PSL costs will be affordable? Nope. Is it the same problem in Oakland? Yes and no. Because in Oakland, all of you know how to get to Oakland. Many of you live in the Bay Area already or nearby, and it's a different ball of wax. The Bay Area doesn't have the Bay Area hotel prices are high, without question, but you don't wind up. But the disparity between prices for a dump is not as great as it is in Vegas. In other words, you're not going from like, oh, I'll pay $30 a night, and then you turn around or I'll pay, I'll pay $16 a night. You turn around, you're paying like $200 a night, or maybe $150 at the Emerald Suites or something like that, which is pretty good. You get a stove in the Emerald Suite. You can cook your meal if you want to. Next question. The NFL has played Super Bowls in non-Super Bowl stadiums, non-NFL stadiums. They have, but there were NFL teams nearby. Today they like to play the Super Bowl in a stadium within NFL where an NFL team plays. Yeah, that was true. That was true in the 60s. All right, but that changed, and I'll tell you when that changed. That changed in 1980s. I remember the bid book for the 1984 Super Bowl that featured the San Francisco 49ers at the time, okay? And that was played at Stanford Stadium. And that was, Marino and the Dolphins coming into town. Remember that? That bid book was 12 pages parchment typewritten. That was it. I'm not kidding you. Now, by contrast, let me show you what a modern NFL bid book looked like as of 15 years ago. Hold on a second. I'll be right. See if I can put this up here. I'll be right back. Because I want to show you what a Super Bowl bid book looks like. The one that Oakland submitted. So you'll see the difference, okay? Hold on a second. I'll be right back. Okay, here it is. This is it, folks. Ta-da! Right here. This is it. This bad boy is the Super Bowl bid book this is my baby. Oakland Super Bowl 39 bidding committee. Woohoo! All right. Okay. See how thick this is? Folks, this is 1990. This is 2001. Okay. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah. A little bit of a step back in time. Show you real quick what this looks like, all right? Let me show you something. This is how we were pitching Oakland. I want to show you this real quick. Look at this. See this? Look at that. That's the regional transportation plan for the Bay Area. See that? All right. This is how the Coliseum was going to look. See that? For the Super Bowl. See that? Isn't that cool? Temporary third deck up there. Okay. Yeah, all right. This is the plans we have. Yeah, I still have the plans. Not bad, huh? Right. Super Bowl stadium plan. Right. The NFL's key hotel here was going to be the Marriott regional hotel plan. Oakland Marriott there. All right. Have all the commitments and everything. All right, we've got Jack London's NFL Playland. Jack London's NFL Playland was my idea, which became NFL Super Bowl City concept. Right here. Why? Because the idea was to have all these events at Jack London Square so that we would give people who would normally be in San Francisco reason to come over. We're going to have concerts with top-notch bands like the Rolling Stone. That was the plan. Okay. This is the Coliseum as we were going to use it for the Super Bowl. Corporate hospitality here, right there. Okay. And NFL tailgate party right there. NFL, that's the parking. And the NFL experience right here. See that? Had it all laid out. Pretty trick, huh? Pretty trick. And we're going to give the NFL all of that to use. Sound familiar? Home of the NFL Commissioners Party, this huge area, this huge building at the Oakland Army base. This is where the Commissioners Party is going to be. We're going to give them all that. It was going to be kick-ass, man. We're going to put, then we're going to have the NFL sponsorship party at the USS Hornet. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree with you. Now, and then we had, let's see here. Oh, this brings back memories. The mayor of Oakland, my boss at the time, that was Jerry Brown. And then the city manager, Robert Bob, right here. Okay. Welcome to Oakland, Super Bowl City. And that's the letter. Right there, all right? So, so anyway, and there's, we got, this is from Dianne Feinstein. That was to Commissioner Tagliabue. And, yeah, I put all that together. Oh, it makes me want to cry all over again. We lost. You believe we lost to Jacksonville, man? Because you know why? They were aggressive, and they all believed collectively, whereas I only believed. Okay? Oh, well. Anyway, that's a huge digression. Sorry about that. But, well, the point that I was making is that, yeah, okay. Hey, Middle Rocker, thank you for subscribing. Appreciate it. How you doing? And so, yeah, it's mixed. It's like an amusement park. Yeah, in a sense. Yeah, that's right. And then, let's see here. And so Ronald's Club. I buy whatever ticket I can get my hands on because I'm always out here. I had season tickets at one point, and I was like, oh, I'm going to sell these off because I got to come down and be with Mom. So anyway, what other questions? Did I miss something here? Oh, your seats are row. Okay, this is cool. Cool stuff. Hey, how does everybody like this so far? Well, somebody, I think T.I. Howard asked a question. Let me see here. If Willie Brown were mayor instead of Jerry Brown, Oakland would think big. Okay, let me take this first. I'm taking all of your questions here, but I'm just kind of highlighting this. And so Q, and then here, and then now. Okay. If Willie Brown were mayor instead of Jerry Brown, Oakland would think big. Yeah, that's true. Jerry didn't get sports, and I think part of Jerry's issue with sports, I think it was sort of kind of a weird ethnocentric thing. He seemed to like, well, that's not true, but yeah. He seemed to view sports as something that was anti-intellectual. Whereas for me, a true intellectual doesn't turn his or her own mind away from something. They're interested in everything. But Jerry acted like, oh, sports, that's beneath me. And that's not, to me, the way a big city mayor should be. By contrast, Willie Brown would not settle for being second fiddle. He would want Oakland to be number one. So you're absolutely right about that. Now, another question here. Let's see here. I'm from Panama. Finally, where are the builders building a stadium? Well, in all honesty, right now, we believe it's going to be Oakland because Oakland's the home city. And that's where the commissioner wants it. So we have to go with Oakland, right? Now, okay. Hey, Golden State Raider, I'll take you up on that. You got it. Mr. Ronald, that doesn't matter. Prices. Hey, what do you guys think about the new season ticket prices for the Raiders? Just curious. What are your thoughts on that? Hold on. Let me try this also messaging thing here. This is cancel. Oh, share. And I'm going to go ahead and share this, right? But the share thing doesn't, it's just share. There's share. Oh, I get it. There's this. There's share. This is pretty neat. You can actually send a message over here and have people respond and that sort of thing. Okay, now, T.I. Howard, what is the real reason Mark doesn't open Mount Davis? It's because he's trying to get more monetary bang for the buck, all right? And he wants to assure more sellouts. He wants to be able to squeeze out a better seat price for the cost. Also, from a service perspective, that's one more area that Aramark doesn't have to handle for food service that actually saves money. All right, that's the reason. Let's see here. It costs a brother. Well, yeah, it does. Okay. Now, let's see here. When do we get to see Lot Stadium drawings? John Hacken says. Good question. Because, I should have a contest for like the question of the day, right? That's a good question. That is a good question because I'll tell you why. That is, because we have never seen a state-of-the-art representation of a Raiders stadium in Oakland. Do you realize that? Not once. I said state-of-the-art. I'm not talking about Ford Gephardt's thing or my stick figure drawing. I'm talking about, I'm just being honest, I'm talking about a state-of-the-art rendering like we saw for Vegas or Carson or Inglewood, especially Inglewood, or St. Louis. That would change the game. It really would. Now, here's another one. I understand the traveling, speaking because I'm in Houston, going to Dallas is a struggle. Yeah. Yeah, it does resemble, I've been told it resembles CenturyLink. Yes. And I would say Ronald Harris. Yes. 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 Yes, it does. I'm writing yes right here. See, I'm writing yes. Yeah. But as far as, okay, and Hector says, I think it's okay by the whole relocation is causing concern. What do you mean by that, Hector? I guess I missed something there. And you paid $1,000 last year versus $1,675. Woo! Holy cow! That's a big one. That's a big difference. Let me try something here. Let's see here. Who's the one person that thumbs me? I'm gonna thumb me down on a. That's hilarious. Gonna thumb me down. Heck with you. Jeez Louise. Do you have any idea what is meant by the NFL owning the stadium? Yes, I do. Trevin, I'll get to your question in a second. Okay. Now, do you have any idea what is meant by the NFL owning the stadium? What it means basically is that the National Football League would have the right to claim revenues, the majority of revenues from the stadium, but they would also have to pay if they owned it. You have to remember the NFL is a private organization now. It's no longer a nonprofit. Remember it used to be the nonprofit or all that? No. It means it has to pay property taxes, unless, of course, in the negotiations those property taxes are waived. It also means that they are responsible for such liabilities as what happens during an earthquake. Unless, of course, they work that out in the negotiation. See? A key reason why you really kind of don't want to get in the game of owning a stadium if you're the NFL and you've got all these other revenue streams to worry about. You're better off letting the city and the county do it because they've got a better credit standing than you do, and they have better access to insurance most of the time than even you do. So when the NFL says it wants to own the stadium, I kind of look at that and I'm thinking, is it stadium you really want to own, or is it just you want command of certain revenue streams? Which revenue streams? You see what I'm getting at? Now, let's see here. Would the NFL own the land forever? Under the proposal, the NFL and the Raiders would have a 99-year ground lease. And that's not unheard of. Charlotte has a 99-year ground lease. But listen, the mayor of Oakland and Oakland's elected officials put on the ballot, and it passed, a provision such that Oakland can offer a 99-year ground lease as opposed to a 66-year one. A 99-year ground lease basically means lifetime. But you really can't do that, so this is the closest, by law, that you can offer. Okay? Now, let's see here. What was the other? Does the lot group, this is Octavio, does the lot group really have the financing to build the Oakland Stadium? Yes. Never St. Louis, never Antonio, prefer Oakland, but don't mind Vegas or San Antonio. Okay. Now, John says if we see something, it would get the fan base excited and build momentum. Right. Now, Trevin TV says, okay, Zenny, honestly, I have no idea what's going on with the Raiders. Can you just give a quick explanation on what's happening? Yeah. What's happening is they've hired 7 lobbyists in Las Vegas. They're still trying to get something going in terms of financing, but they're having their doors slammed. They're looking at their options. And also this week, I know that one Raider official is meeting with one Oakland official, and I am not at liberty to say who is meeting with whom. Okay? So the Raiders looking at all of their options right now. And they are slowly leaning away from Las Vegas, but they haven't turned away from it. Right now, they're trying to protect, in the Las Vegas case, their seed corn. Guess what that is? The only thing they've got, the subsidy. That's it. Is government and Goel still messing with lot group and working on a plan? Yes. Not messing with them, but yes. Let's see here. I would just highlight that. Let's see here. Why do you think... Okay, Bill, Q. 1 second. And then A is... Yes. Now, Bill, you said, why do you think they hired a lobbyist in Nevada? Let's see. Q. Okay, there. Why do you think they hired a lobbyist in Nevada? And then the next one's the relocation. Because they wanted to protect the subsidy. Now, if the subsidy goes away, forget it. They're dead. Which leads to the next question. Do you expect the application relocation to be withdrawn before the owners meeting? I'm going to put a percentage. I'm going to say it's a 60% chance. Now, 60% is not a sure thing. 66% is a statistical sure thing. So it's close to a possibility. The key is what happens within the legislature that destroys the subsidy. If the subsidy is destroyed before the owners' meeting, Davis ought to pull, because he's got nothing. And he's not going to get anything in San Diego. That's not happening. He doesn't have the votes for that. That's just not happening. Okay? So, what could push Davis to do that is the timely release of a drawing that shows Oakland with a new stadium, a new Raiders stadium in it. We've never seen that. And that would push public momentum entirely in that direction. NFL owner decisions and excitement entirely in Oakland's direction. Oakland would have demonstrably had its act together. And there would be a lot of pressure from Mark to withdraw it. There would be. So those are the conditions upon which that could happen. Now, Carolina Raider on a Periscope last night said the NFL is behind the Raider to Vegas deal 100%. That's false. That's not true at all. Will Mark Davis ultimately talk to the city of Oakland ever again? Yeah, Mark still talks to the city, and so does Bidet. This is cool, Zenny. You should do this. I will, John. I'll do this again. I'll give you a better notice. NFL let St. Louis subsidy go. They did. But see, Bill, here's the thing about St. Louis, all right? All right, look. St. Louis is not Oakland. The Rams went from a small market to a big one. Now, yeah, someone would say, well, we did leave Los Angeles for a smaller market. They did. But the conditions for moving both out of Los Angeles to St. Louis and out of Oakland, LA then were different now. It's because those cities refused meaning Oakland and LA refused to provide luxury boxes. Lionel Wilson basically laughed in Al Davis' face. Al didn't want to be dissed. Lionel Wilson and Pete Rozelle thought that Al's threat to move was a bluff. And Al Davis called their bluff. We don't have that situation today. No one thinks anybody is bluffing. Big difference. Now, is Larry McNeil still working for the Raiders? Yes, he has. He's still working for the Raiders. And Mr. K-Spar says, I understand the public subsidy is a non-starter municipality like Oakland. Oh, we do have a subsidy. Okay. So, and what Bruce Allen said to JT of the Brick is completely wrong. Now, but why can't city and county compromise just a little? Well, they have. Okay. And let me see that. Let me get that question out there. I can't seem to grab that. Q here. Answer. And I'm writing A, and I'm writing they have. Okay. Now there is, if you go to, all right, they have. All right. I can't seem to make that go. It just says I'm trying to hit the return. It says they have. I guess if I get that really, okay, they have. Okay, now they have. In fact, there's a video that I have. I don't know if I could put the URL in here or not, but I can find it. I'm not going through the trouble. It's on my YouTube channel. If you type Libby Schaff and look for Zenny62 Libby Schaff Oakland update, all right, do that search. And then when you find it, all right, look for the one where I'm standing next to her and basically, got my arm around her. We're close, all right? My god sister. And she's talking about an update. And so look at that video. Because in that video, she specifically says that public dollars will be used for infrastructure. So she has given a lot. What Bruce Allen said on JT the Brick was completely 1,000% wrong. I love Bruce. Great guy. Talking about the Redskins GM. Friend of mine. But he's wrong. Bruce even has a similar situation in Virginia. Governor of Virginia wants to build a new stadium for him. No tax dollars. Okay. San Diego, no tax dollars. No one wants to use tax dollars anymore. Mark got lucky in Vegas, so why? Oh, the lobbyist is to hold on to that seed corn down there because he knows it's going to be fettered away sooner rather than later. I'm talking about the subsidy. Yeah, the $750 million. Now, what's the other question? I thought the A's announced a few days ago about building a stadium somewhere else. Yeah, in Oakland. They want to be at Howard Terminal and Jack London Square. I said that a year ago. People laughed at me. Whatever. Bay Area Raiders, there are more Raider fans in SF than Niner fans. Yeah, that's true. I have two fields that retract. I don't know what that means. Okay, will a new stadium force the Athletics to another site? Well, the A's want to be downtown, okay? And they want to have that downtown baseball experience. They want to have something like what the Giants enjoy with the San Francisco Giants Stadium with AT&T Park down there at the China Basin area. China Basin Lincoln Center area down there. And so, hope that answers your question. Jason Tarver, yeah, I got that one. What happens next after 60-day ENA is up with City and Lot? Do things ramp up? Yeah, I would expect, particularly now that ENA, all right, if the NFL says yes to Oakland, the ENA, like, that's going to become a DDA. What is a DDA? A DDA is a due disposition and development agreement. They'll fast track that, they being the City of Oakland, the County of Alameda. Now, what's the difference between an MOU, and a DDA, an MOU, an ENA, and DDA? An MOU means you and I have a memorandum of understanding that I will produce a plan to build a stadium. When you look at that MOU, you say, hey, look, you've got the financing, you prove that. You have the architect lined up, you've got the contractors lined up, you have the cost study done, you've done that. So now, even though we've heard from you and other people, we're going to deal with you. We're going to give you the exclusive negotiating agreement, which means we just talk with you, and we use that period to, first of all, put some $2 million in to show commitment, finish the cost study for the stadium, get the financing secured, get all of the paperwork established. What do I mean by that? I mean the paperwork for the plans for the stadium, the paperwork for the construction costs, the paperwork for infrastructure planning, the paperwork for demolition, there's a lot of paperwork and a lot of planning, a lot of staffing that has to be done during that ENA period. And once you've gotten to about 60% completion, boom. Or, on the way there, boom. You get your DDA. That means you're ready to build. That's when the shit gets serious. That's the process. All right. Now, do you see, I'm not sure what your YouTube looks like from your end, but you may be able to pop out of the dialog box by clicking the 3 dots from the live. I've tried that. I mean, it's hard for me to hold it. Here's the problem. I've got this cord. I'll show you what I mean. See this cord? This is powering the phone, right? The phone is horizontal. I can't, because of the way the cord is positioned, I can't sit the phone down. I have to hold it in order to keep this powered. If I unplug it and set it up there, then the battery power goes down, right? So I got to unplug it to keep this thing in. Now I'm trying to, I think in the future I'm going to get a holster or something to hold this. I would love to just reorient how this is done. I'm going to research how that's done because there's got to be a way. There's got to be a way. Because if I could turn it this way, I could sit it down, right? Sideways. Okay, now, how do we get the A's out of OCO? I think the A's want to get out of OCO. MB, thank you. I appreciate it very much. Now, baseball field and football field, will it retract in or out depending on who's playing? No, it won't be that, John. We had that. They'll be separate. They'll be separate, okay? Octavio, A's planning on revealing stadium plans in this year. That's true. Most likely going away from OCO. That's true. Leading the Raiders, the only team in 100% control of the land. Yes, land. Airplane Blues is right. That's correct. Yeah, that's right. So, 43 watching now. So, okay. How about how much will the stadium cost? $1,400,000,000 approximately, and are we looking at $800,000? $800,000 will see 55,000. We really, I've heard 55,000, but they really should try for 65,000. The only reason we have the tarp covered and everything, it's an old stadium, it's not exciting, yada 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 yada. Okay. A new stadium, people will flock to, particularly at that location. Better location than Santa Clara, man. Much better. Much better. Okay? Now, to Drew's question, would the NFL like to use the Las Vegas subsidy for an expansion team or the Jags? It's not the NFL's to call. Okay? That, given the cutoff time for the subsidy, and the fact that we now have a Democratic Nevada legislature, that's not happening. You can kiss it. What's the Giants announcer we used to say when the Giants would hit a home run? Kiss it goodbye. Kiss it goodbye. And kiss it goodbye. Look, Nevada has no income tax. It has a property tax that's divided up and high enough already, and you've got this $750 million subsidy sitting out there that even with a provision to reduce the hotel tax if the NFL says no, that's still money that legislators and county commissioners want their hands on, primarily for education spending. They're not going to see an opportunity like this again. You think they're going to let that go? You think they're going to let that go? They're not letting it go at all. No way. Bill says, okay, here it is. BS Oakland isn't getting whatever. Well, fine. Okay. Whatever. Do you know when the artist rendition in the new Oakland Stadium will be released? I don't. I'm trying to find that out. How often does Bedane Davis talk to Lott regarding the plan? I know they talk. As to how often, I don't know. But I know they talk. Oakland, Alameda County Coliseum is the best location for stadium. Yes, it is. Bill McKinley, they'll fund UNLV and spend the rest on public services and education. Bill, you're absolutely right. That's quite correct. That's quite correct. I don't want to miss anything on your Twitter responses, by the way. It's 11:13 out here in the East. I think I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm close to wrapping it up, folks. This has been fantastic. Oh, hold on a second. When the Raiders come to Las Vegas, okay, now we're getting into silly season. Okay. All right, whatever. Okay, folks, hey, just, I love smart discourse. Las Vegas, folks, I know you're a little bit upset here and there, but please prove that you're capable of really, because I know you are, of great, smart talk about this, and not the flaming back and forth. That's immature. Now, I have no truck to babysit. I love kids. I don't have any myself yet. But the bottom line is I don't want to do it right now. Okay? I'm just saying. Chill out. Everybody, chill out. There's no reason for all this back and forth. It's ridiculous. It's silly. All right? And it's silly. Now, as far as certain people, okay. Let's see here. Now, all right. And Underlife Sin City Raider, you've been banned. Okay? Don't want folks like you around causing garbage. I don't waste time. Bye-bye. Anyway, okay. Now, back to Smart Talk. Great questions. Why not build some bullet trains to get to the stadium? You mean, John Davis, you're talking about for Coliseum? There actually is a bullet train line that's supposed to go through there. In fact, you're looking at the guy that spearheaded trying to get Oakland as the terminus for the bullet train when I worked for Elihu Harris and then Jerry Brown. That's right. I missed it by that much. Now, thank you, Drew. Appreciate that. Prediction: the NFL will help build the stadium for Raiders in Oakland. It will cost $800,000. Nah, I wish. Okay. Raider Nation is worldwide. That is very true. That is very true. Did I miss a question? I want to make sure I haven't missed any questions. Thank you all very much for being civil. And please be civil to each other. I have had enough of this meanness, this socially produced meanness. Where it comes from, I don't know. But we've got to turn away from it. Being nice. Look, I'm going to tell you something. There's nothing wrong with being politically correct. Think about it. What does it mean to be politically correct? It means to say something nice to the other person. What's wrong with making that person feel good about themselves? Absolutely nothing. Be that person. Be that person. We've had enough of the other kind. Now, that's right. Kill them with niceness. Hey, the NFL used to do that. The NFL was known for nicing us to death when we were bidding for the Super Bowl. Everything was and they helped us along. Everything was so great. And wow, that was great. And yeah, just get something done. Now, has there been any public funding to keep the Raiders in Oakland? Yes, Phil Castro asked that question, and I'm going to highlight that and say yes, there has been. It's a neat kind of public funding arrangement that protects the taxpayer, but it winds up being public dollars that normally for development would have gone to the city and the county going to the project, but then the city and the county get part of the development revenue resulting from the project. So they don't get the tax dollars. It's kind of a trade-off, all right? But the bottom line is it adds up to being a subsidy of sorts. And so, yeah, it is. It's there. Now, has there been any public fund? Yeah, okay, yeah. Temporary playing site. That's got to be Levi Stadium. That would be. It won't be Cal Memorial Stadium at Berkeley because the neighborhood will go nuts. That's we're talking Berkeley, okay? Catch a ha ha ha. Look at this. I don't even whatever. Okay, well, whoever that is gone as well. Okay, sorry, catch the loop. You're blocked. Okay. Um. Okay, sorry about that. We're getting a silly season. Maybe it's about time to wrap it up. Okay. Um. Fun to get rid of people who are ridiculous. I don't mean get rid of people, but just really, you know what I mean? Come on. Um. Sorry, Zinni, I meant to say $800 million. Oh, okay, I get it. That the NFL will spend to build. I don't. The owners don't have the. Hey, good night, Rick. I'll see you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Uh, cool having. Okay, hold on a second. 800 million. No, they're not going to spend that much money. I think. Yeah, I'll see you at Super Bowl. Hey, I'll be at the Super Bowl. Minnesota, man, it's going to be great. Now, do I think it is personal for Mark? Now, as far as the whole issue regarding the what was this question? So many questions going back all of a sudden here. Let's see, kills. What was this? Temporary playing site. Levi's is taking any public funding. We got that already. Um, Sorry, yeah. Oh no, it won't be 800 million. They may add 100 million. That's speculation on my part. I have nothing to back that up or to verify that, but I do believe the league is ready to call it a game and have the Raiders stay in Oakland. This San Diego stuff is just foolishness. Now, I will, Ronald. I'll give you more of a heads up. I'll make this a standard thing that I do. Okay. In fact, I might just do it on an everyday basis. But how much did Levi Stadium cost? Levi Stadium was 1.4 billion, and will our stadium be similar in cost? The answer is yes. Um, I hear something about DDA next. Yes, Mr. Harris, that is correct. That is coming soon, and hence that's why the next announcement by the Relot Group will contain more detail. All right. Now, what else here? Um, and I'm gonna wrap up in 10 minutes, folks. This has been fantastic. Thank you all very, very much. Any other questions as I wrap up? I don't think. Hey, what'd you guys think of the? I want to ask. Did anybody believe the Patriots actually won Super Bowl 51, given James White's knee touching? I just, got it. Anyone? 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 See you at Super Bowl. You got it. Here's another question. Who do you think would get an expansion team first, Las Vegas or San Diego? San Diego. Um, you know what? No. You know what? No. I think Vegas over San Diego because I'll take that back. I think Vegas would get it. Vegas. Why is there a Kickstarter for Oakland? Heck, I can start a Kickstarter for Oakland. Big deal. Uh, Atlanta choked. There's one. Will owners vote no for Oakland, but to butt time? I don't understand, Jack, what that means. I relooked at the NFL has replay. Yes, he scored. Ah, interesting. Buy. But to buy time. Will owners vote no for Oakland to buy time? I think that's possible, Jack. Yeah, I do. But Oakland's on a good time frame. Oakland's far ahead of Las Vegas. Way ahead, light years ahead. Um, that has to be the worst ending to Super Bowl ever. Yes. But when it comes to Patriots Super Bowl, the magical always seems to happen. Isn't that the truth? I was there in 2004 when Brady drove and Vinatieri kicked the winning field goal in Houston. You're right about that. Hey, B, thank you so much. Folks, I am, it's 11:22. I've got 8 minutes. Anything else? Anything else? This has been great for something I just sort of did, really to inaugurate YouTube here. Uh, and yeah, I hate the Pats. Yeah, Tuck rule, man. Sorry. If all goes well, when does the Oakland Stadium open? At this stage, I would have to say it'd be 2021, something like that. You're not going to see 2020. That's not happening. Uh, 2021, 2022, somewhere in there. Okay. Don't forget, other teams have Magic against Pats too. The Giants head coach. Yep. And Walter Witt. So you don't live in Oakland? Actually, I do live in Oakland. I do. I live both in Oakland and in Georgia. My mom's in both. My mom is here. I go there. I go back and forth. But I spend a lot of time proudly with my mom, and yeah, that's it. Um, Besides stadium news, have you seen any player developments in coaches? You know, Jason, I haven't looked at that yet. I've heard about Musgrave departing and talked with friends about Musgrave's departure, but I haven't, and I need to look at the Senior Bowl footage. I'm behind in my NFL draft preparation. I need to catch up real fast. I have some ideas about who I think are the best players, but I'm always like a player to scheme kind of guy, right? You know, what kind of scheme are you going to do? Who's best for that scheme? But, you know, I digress. Did you see Cavallo's tweet from Howard Terminal? No, false, I did not. What did he say? I'm behind on that one. I know he loves Howard Terminal, or at least loved. It doesn't matter. White knees, Pat should have never come back after the half. Phil, you're right. In fact, Kyle Shanahan should have never called that pass at all. Hard to concentrate on draft. The fate of our franchise in Oakland is up in the air thanks to Mark. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hassan Reddick is Knicks Raider linebacker. You know what? I hope so. Oof. Can you imagine? Oh, my God. Hassan Reddick. Bruce Irvin. Khalil Mack. My God. Man. Okay. Do you think we're going to go to draft defense strong in April? I hope we do. Need interest in different... Yep. Is Aldous Smith back? Yes. Said he enjoyed touring Howard Terminal. Oh, Howard Terminals. If you haven't been down to Howard Terminal, you know, go to Michonne's Auctions. Has a auction like the first Sunday of every month. You can see Howard Terminal from across there. Look at that. That's incredible. Whew. Incredible. I mean, just incredible. What about Lake Merritt area for A's? You know, I like Howard Terminal better than Lake Merritt. I've been told that the A's favor Lake Merritt. That's, if you've ever gone down there, that's a tight traffic fit, man. It'll be hell down there if they did that. Whew. That would take a lot of infrastructure planning. You likely already addressed this question, but why doesn't Oakland sell the Coliseum land to the NFL? Well, City of Oakland officials informed me that they did, and when they did so, just prior to, well, around the time that, during the time that Floyd Gephardt was involved, the NFL didn't have the money. And as one owner told a friend of mine, you know, he being Eric Grubman, is talking about our money, right? So it's one thing for the NFL to say, hey, we want the land, but any economic development officer in any city is going to say, great, what you got? Pay us. Pay us something. Couldn't cough it up. $150 million. And I remember that idea was told to me over a year ago, September of 15th of 2015, by a friend of mine who's, you know, part of the action. And the NFL was expected to buy Coliseum land, didn't do it then. And so, let's see here. You likely already addressed, all right, and you have a delay. Oh, I have a delay? You mean in my live stream? Oh, well, whatever. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. No. Okay, not the live stream. Yes. There's a no and a yes. I'm so confused. It's 12:27. I know I'm getting... Oh, you don't hear a delay. Okay, great. NFL doesn't have $150 million? Yeah, that's what I was thinking, all right? But here, you know, to be fair to Grubman and the NFL, I think what they were thinking was give us the land, like that 99-year ground lease and the revenue, all right? And we won't pay for it, and yet we'll have the team there and we'll work out another deal. In fairness, I think that's what he was egging at, but that's hard to get past public muster because look around you. Look around the United States. Look how many organizations, how many people don't want tax dollars used for NFL stadiums anymore. That's the climate we're in. It's not just Oakland. It's Virginia. It's everywhere. Money's tight because of the use of technology and manufacturing, the International Division of Labor. We have market economies in so many places throughout the world, stretching airplanes like the 787 such that they're built in 96 different countries rather than just maybe 20, with the United States being the lead. Those days are gone. But it means less money for you and me, which translates into less tax dollars. Now, let's see here. 49ers to Vegas or whatever. Any other owner except Mark would have purchased the land by now, considering Warriors and Pasadena will vacate subject property. Yeah, here's the thing. Stephen Ross owns land right next to the Coliseum. Davis ought to just do a deal with him, you know? All right, video. Okay, it's 11:29. Everybody, thank you very much. I'm writing, I'm saying thanks, everyone. Thanks, all. Thank you. Thanks, all. Thank you, all. Oh, how long have you known Libby? I've known Libby since 1990. 1990, Ellis. And do you think this has become somewhat personal for her? No, I think the Raiders have made it personal, and I think Mark Davis and Mark Bedanus said very mean things about her that they should take back, okay? And you have to ask the question, would they treat a mayor who is male the same way? I leave that question to you, all right? All right. Thank you all. Thank you all very much. Thank you. See you all, and I'll make it an earlier announcement. I'll think today about how I'm going to do this in the future. I like this. Maybe tomorrow. Stay tuned. Thank you all. Thank you.